Let's start with the session. So let me introduce today. We have the Open FiiRE team. Along with us, we have Ashok, the CEO. We have Dhiran, the Director of Strategic Partnership. I would hand it over to them to speak about themselves and introduce us to the workshop. Ashok, I think you're on mute.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you so much to everyone for joining as well as FiiRE for this, exciting opportunity. Would request everyone to kind of, uh, I'll walk through a brief on what it is and how useful it is. And then wherever I think anyone that's interested and since you're recording and anyone looking at the recording is interested in a deep dive of a specific topic or functionality, maybe we can do a separate session as well. Uh,
sure.
so we have myself Ashok. I co-founded and CEO at OpenWeaver for about 3 years. Spent about 23 years in the global tech industry, building mission critical products for large multinationals across the globe. Karthik is our CTO, and Dhiren strategic partnership supports this partnership with FiiRE as well. So any help that you need in leveraging the amazing credits that we're giving to FiiRE startups or how to use the product, Dhiren is your go-to person. Uh, what is OpenWeaver? We exist only to make digital development easy. So if you are a startup, you want to create a SaaS tech, you are a startup, you want to create a web application, you want to create a mobile app, you want to launch some product, you need some digital marketing automation to be done. OpenWeaver is the platform to execute all of that. So our no-code platform is called OpenWeaver Studio, which is amazingly useful for startups, and it can provide an idea to a minimum viable product in as less as 4 hours. That's the power of OpenWeaver Studio. So if you or any of your friends are in the ecosystem of FiiRE or idea stage startup, OpenWeaver Studio is like God gift. It will get your idea to a minimum viable product ready for customer testing in about 4 hours. And I will actually show you in less than 5 minutes on how to build an app and launch it. Candy is our platform for low code, very useful if you're a technical developer chooser. So I wouldn't go into Candy today. We are about 3 years old. We support 30 lakh users across the world today. We have been showcased on NASSCOM's research report where we documented about 1 billion hours saved in development. We are a deep tech ourselves. We have 6 patents granted with US Patent Office and many more in the pipeline. We are a NASSCOM small business. This year, from over 2,500 other SMEs, we won the Customer Experience Award from NASSCOM. And we're Economic Times Best Tech Brand for 2 years running. So that's us as a business. So digital is, I think before we go to how to build digital, just wanted to spend a few minutes to say, what do you mean by digital? Because sometimes when we say digital, people say, digital is like, only Elon Musk or something big and, digital is not simple things. So just wanted to demystify that part. So we've been working with incubators and startups over the last 2 quarters, and about 3,500 to 4,000 ideas have gone live using our platform. So digital can mean multiple things. So scaling physical business, the most simplistic digital. If you have an idea, you want to test it, you need a landing page. So landing page is digital to say, I am announcing a travel and tourism service. I provide XYZ services. Here is a form to contact me, or here is a phone number to contact me. Most simplest digital thing. You can launch it in 2 minutes on OpenWeaver Studio and go live. Then social post generator. If you're doing a travel tourism service and you want the world to know, these are the things you want in multiple languages to be posted across multiple channels with pictures, with text. Again, great opportunity to leverage OpenWeaver Studio to do content generation for or image generation for your social and other blogs and posts. Website with product showcase. Even you may not be ready for e-commerce, but you have a property or a hotel or something you want to showcase. Again, great opportunity. Capture customer feedback. You're providing a service, you want to capture customer feedback and get your reviews online. Again, great thing. So these are the most simplest thing. Even if you run a very small business with few lakhs of revenue, there are simple, tools that you can build using OpenWeaver Studio to scale. So the whole world can know about your travel or tourism or any service or product industry. You can also next level. So first we talked about physical business. Next you can think about digital business. So if you want to create a travel booking site, and I on XYZ methodologies.
Uh, I think we lost your voice in the middle.
Okay, one moment, please.
Now it's better.
Let me, yeah, just give me 1 second. I will.
Sure.
How is it now?
Yeah, it is better now.
Better. Okay, excellent. So one is the physical business. Second is the whole digital business. So there are phenomenal opportunities using generative AI. We have had startups creating a travel advisor where you say, "Hey, I'm traveling with a family of four. I'm interested in snorkeling." Then the bot can actually respond. It can create a travel itinerary that says, "Hey, I have 3 days. I like snorkeling. I like maybe partying in the evening." So it can write a custom uh, itinerary for you, and then it can also do the booking for each of those itineraries or reservations, or guide you on what are the stops that you can do. So amazing ideas in terms of digital businesses. Could be from travel, could be circular economy or green economy that says, how do you recycle waste from a hotel? Can you do a collection service like an e-commerce across hotels? Can you do decarbonization consulting services? Marketplaces are again great examples of digital businesses. We even had one of our startups from an incubator which created a Uber for photographers, which means you have a party in the evening, you have too many guests coming and you cannot shoot it on your mobile phone. So it will show you based on your location, it will tell you who are the photographers available in a 5 kilometer radius, who can come today evening and take your photos and give it to you. So very simple ideas can be digital business. Of course, you can become the next Zepto or next Zomato, but you can also think of something as close as a travel advisor or a trip advisor, which is generative for something that you may run in your ecosystem. Generative AI, again, great ideas. People are building art boutiques. People are building, chatbots, travel planners, even things like legal citizen services, which says there is a 10-page legislation or 100-page legislation. No one understands what it is. Can you summarize a 50-page legislation in 5 bullet points and give it in a local language? Are again great opportunities that startups are leveraging. So how does OpenWeaver Studio solve it? Very simple tool, but extremely powerful. 3 steps. First step is a page builder. Means you can create an amazing looking UI. So if you all have used something like a WordPress or a Wix, it does the same thing at a SaaS application grade. So you can drag drop build a page. You can build it for a desktop. You can build it for a mobile. You can build it for a tablet, or you can build it across all. You can reuse existing things. You can set properties, set templates. You can hit preview, which means if you are doing user testing, you can give that preview URL to your user, and she can test it and say, hey, no, I don't understand what your landing pages or what your call to action means. And then you can continue to optimize your page. So first step, you can create a stunning user interface very easily. Second step is your backend. You absolutely will need something like a database for a transactional system, or you will need some storage where you'll have your images and documents and other things that you will store. Then higher order, if you look at it, if you're, let's say you're into travel and you want to connect to an Amadeus API or something, we have a ready-made API connector. You can connect to a booking platform, or maybe you have a partner ecosystem. You may be into travel, but someone is into hospitality, you may connect a hospitality API to your website. So API connector is there, email is there if you want to send orders or confirmation to users. And then there is a wide variety of AI, ML resources, right from simple predictive resources on AI, ML workbench, all the way to content generation, image generation, human language, sentiment analysis. So all higher order AI algorithms are available, and you don't need to do any coding. You just hit plus plus plus, it gets added to your application. I'll show you how as well. Third step is the logic that connects both. You say a user gave an input, I take that input, pass it to AI, and then that output I show to user. Once they approve, I will store it into database and send an email travel confirmation booking or something. So you can do things like that as well. And then once you hit deploy, in about 30 seconds, your application will go live, which means your business has gone live. And you can map that URL to www.firestartup.com, and it is globally available. It's on a highly available global cloud, so your business is live. What do people, our users, startups say? They say OpenWeaver Studio is the fastest, easiest, and most complete platform. Fastest, in about 4 hours, you can launch a complete platform. Easiest, you don't need to know AI, you don't need to know database. You can drag, drop, and customize. You don't need technical knowledge at all. You don't need to know a single line of Python or React coding. You can launch a full-fledged SaaS business using OpenWeaver Studio. And most complete, you don't need any other tools. You don't need a Figma. You don't need a mocking tool. You don't need a React developer. You don't need an Amazon Web Services. You don't need a security consultant. With just one OpenWeaver Studio, which is again fully browser based, all you need is a system and internet. Your business can go live in an instant. So that is the power of OpenWeaver Studio. Uh, and specific to the partnership, so thanks to FiiRE and thanks to Dhiren, who has kind of worked to bring this thing. Everyone who applies through this, so after this, and anyone who sees the recording that is interested in trying out OpenWeaver Studio, we are giving out rupees 25,000 worth of credits, which will include everything from the designer to going live to using generative AI. You will be able to use it for almost 4 to 6 months to launch your business, generate revenue, or maybe raise funding. And post that, there is also a forward free tier which mostly supports static pages. And then if you want to use some of the deeper features, the plans are starting at 499 rupees per month, which you can, after you've been successful, you can start using some of those as well. So there are additional great things to talk about, but in interest of time and interest of kind of focusing on the key things, some of these things. But the idea essentially is to think of a minimum viable product. So that's something where a lot of the startups go wrong, where you kind of say, hey, I have 500 ideas and I need to wait for 12 months to get the 500 ideas ready. I think it will never work. Someone will beat you to it. So think of 5 ideas, which we call as customer needs met criteria. Look at the problem that you really want, or you think your user is having or a customer is having. Focus on absolutely what is essential, and launch something in weeks and get customer feedback and iterate from there. And that is something that OpenWeaver Studio will help you. It will help you very quickly, put out a set of features, launch it, and get customer testing and feedback from the user. So think of minimum viable product, and in a minimum viable product, very important to find out the user's need and needs met criteria. There are, of course, I will not go into the detail of it. There are many mechanisms to kind of for you to go through it to say, how do you prioritize? Because sometimes you will say, hey, these 500 things are there, only the product will work, not essential at all. And there are again good ideas. Let's say if you're trying to sell mobility as a service, think of maybe some users will be okay for a bicycle, skateboard, some will be okay for a motorcycle, and then go for a car. The bottom is the right way to create a minimum viable product. The needs met criteria is people need a mobility service, so you're giving them different sets of mobility to go live. Don't think of, can I give them the wheel first, can I give them the handle steering next, can I give them the engine next? Because with each of these three minimum viable products in the top row, the customer cannot address their needs met criteria. There is no use in calling something that is internal as a minimum viable product. Sometimes, if you like me are from a technical background, we do that mistake. We say, I have an amazing feature. Let me give that feature to customer, but customer say, what do I do with this feature? It's not going to help me meet my need. So think of the customer's need and think of the most minimal thing that will help the customer meet their need. But again, we'll cover these in a separate session later. But very inspiring because whenever I talk to startups, I'm part of the NASCOM 10K startups. When I do mentoring with many people, there people say, "Hey, if I'm a startup, I'm doing something digital. I want to be Airbnb or Uber." So anyone you ask best digital product, they say Uber and Airbnb. But this was Airbnb's first site. It's a simple listing site, no payment, no map. But what did they do? They had that needs met criteria that said people are willing to rent one room in their house, and there are other people who are willing to take that room or a bed on rent. So that is the needs met criteria. Needs met criteria is not having some carousel object, some 50 different pages or something. Needs met criteria is so simple. People are willing to rent their house out. Someone traveling is willing to take that house on rent and willing to do a homestay. Needs met criteria. Very simple digital solution. Stripe, the best payment company in the world that is today, their first live site. Nothing. Everything in the backend is manual, except only test that they did. People are willing to pay for a inline payment system other than what used to be credit cards or banking systems. People wanted something new. So very simple. Zappos, the most customer-centric company in the world, what was their needs met criteria? Their needs met criteria was, are people willing to buy shoes? That time, if you look at Amazon, people said people buy books and electronics. You don't need to try anything. Like travel, those were, shoes were more experiential. You need to put it on your foot, try the feel, comfort, and then only you will buy. So people said people will never buy shoes online. Zappos needs my criteria was, are people willing to buy shoes online? So site very simple, backend is fully manual, and they went live. Similarly, any big tech you look at it, left side Amazon, right side Uber, these are the minimum viable products. And by end of day today, and whenever you apply and you get access, you will be able to build a site that is 10 times better than this in maybe 30 minutes. That's my promise to all of you. So we'll skip some of these and directly, I'll go through the demo. Maybe I'll just switch the screens and share in just about a few seconds now. Hey, Dhiren, can you confirm if you're seeing my OpenViewer Studio browser?
Yes, Ashok, we can see that.
Excellent, excellent. So kind of give you a sample of what you can build, right? So this is OpenViewer Studio. You go to studio.openviewer.com. Of course, once you sign up, you will get access to it. You will maybe get an email from Dhiren or OpenViewer that tells you how to access it. But once you get in, this is what it is. But let me show you what you can build. So these are some of the diverse sort of businesses that went live. So first, super simple, just a wedding planner. They provide services. They showcase their gallery, wedding services. So very some of the most simple, almost like a freelance business using OpenViewer Studio. Then if you look at it, goes to a specialized product, something called as a polybag manufacturer out of a NIFT TBI out of Tirupur. They are into garment and apparel industry. So polybag manufacturer needs to, again, why it becomes specialized? Because they are into green, they are into recycling, they're into export. They will need to showcase, some of the certifications that they have in terms of recycling standards. So very similar situation, but a slightly, next level nuance that says I have to showcase something different. Next, again, if you look at it, agri-tech, agri-business focusing on bananas, plantains, native breeds, So almost an e-commerce intersection agri-tech business that showcases how to build, how to sell different types of products. So again, a very unique business that's an open web studio. So these are almost in some scenarios, if you look at it, like a very simple business. Next, if you look at next set of dimensions, goes one level below, one level above. So it's like a physical business, but it is also bringing in some degrees of STEM, which means you will get chemistry lessons, you will get chemistry kits, and you will also have people who can actually come to your school or college and who sell these services. So it is both. There is a physical product in terms of lab kit and services that you can buy. There is a service, physical services in terms of instructors who will come. There are also digital products in terms of how to run that experiment and some of those courseware that they're on. So one level about it. We saw freelancer, we saw some sort of agri-tech, we saw some sort of manufacturing, which is into unique business. We are seeing some sort of a physical plus virtual product. Then you can go into something that is fully virtual. So you can build something like a ed tech kind of platform where someone can come and look at using some software from your platform. So you can go in, you can see, list of courses that are available. You can say, I want to access the course. So all this is like it's fully dynamic website in terms of going back to the database, pulling out set of courses, have a payment gateway. Once you access the course, has a video on demand, so you can consume. So it's like a fully digital product, so something like a Coursera or a Zomato, where you can actually build a full-fledged digital product using OpenViewer Studio. Next level is more of a higher order digital product, but with the latest generative AI. So this is like a financial advisor. Think of your mutual fund manager. This in finance could be a travel advisor. It could be a travel advisor who says what to do in Goa, or what to do outside Goa, or what to do in parasailing. Could be again different people who could use some of these things. So let's say this is a financial advisor who is a mutual, and some of you might be investing in mutual funds, and you may be getting some feedback that says this is the news from this company, and I want you to buy. So similarly, it's reimagined from that perspective. Like this, if you kind of look at a investment on a stock, what would you do? And all of this is fully generated from AI. I'll show you in a minute on how it actually works. So this advice that says, a dear advisor, based on the stock, it is predicting that the stock price will be so and so. It has not found any news, so it is saying, hey, the news is here. If it had found the news, it will put something, hey, what is happening latest in TCS? And then it will say, after analyzing all of these things, because there is no news, it is kind of saying this, but it will bring all of those things, and you can hit approve and mail. It will go automatically to the user. So you can build something as complex as a financial advisory kind of product, or in some scenarios you can build a simple travel advisory, or what to do when you are in a location kind of things. So let's say you go into OpenViewer Studio. I'll show you maybe a simple app on how the UI looks like. So let me create an app called. So let's say create an app. I'll show you how the blank workspace looks like, and then I'll show you some of how everything else looks like. And then we'll come back here. So first, as you land in, like what I showed you earlier, you will see pages, resources, and flows. Within pages, you will see pre-built section templates. You will get everything: header, hero section, content, image, article. Everything will have, again, multiple options for you. You can have different types to choose from each one. Header, footer, if you want to images, if you want to list products in different forms, if you want registration forms, you want ordering forms. So all of them, again, are available. Different formats where you can drag and drop. After showing you some more examples, I will build with you. In about 5 minutes, I'll build an application and go live. You can again build it. Everything from generative AI also is available. And then if you feel saying, hey, no, I am a great designer on my own, I don't want to be limited by this, you can drag drop this and you can customize it. or you can directly go to the low fidelity elements and you can drag drop each one, image, text box, icon, each one independently. And then, you can almost create your own design, and you can create any number of pages as well. You can create hundreds of pages and you can link each of those pages. This is more on the front end. And here you can look at, how it looks at each one responsively as well. Then you create the backend, which is the resources. Like I said, everything from database to API to storage. If you look at it, all different types of storage is there. And you have everything from, like a machine learning regression to sentiment analysis, content generation, named entity, so on. So you'll have all those things. And flows again will have different ways of building the logic. And again, you have pre-built templates of how to do each step for database, for API, for JSON, string manipulation, everything you will have set of actions built in. So this is like a quick tour of what it is, right, and how it looks like. Now, if you go to the workspace and look at some of those examples at complicated levels, we looked at Lexa Brief, which was more of the fintech example. You will actually see the different types of resources that's being used. You will see the different type of resources that are being used. So you will see content generation. So it's a content generation. So if you say, again, each of the resources has a test environment as well. So before you actually go live, you can test each resource independently. You can give a script like this, it will generate and show. It uses an auto ML regressor to actually take the stock prices. Again, this can be pulled in dynamically also to say there are different stocks available. How do I look at these different stocks and what can I predict on each of these stocks is something that you can do. So it has stock prices. You're seeing 2,930 rows of stock prices across different companies, which it uses to predict what comes out. And then you have a tool which will send out an email, an API connector, which will actually connect to newsdata.io. So newsdata.io is a news provider. So it will provide you news saying, hey, what is happening in the industry and how do I understand if I'm watching a certain thing, or maybe in a travel industry, it could be a weather lookup also to say what is going to be the weather tomorrow. Based on the weather, you can predict something to say weather is going to be warm and sunny. Here are activities. Maybe if it is going to rain, here are indoor activities that you can do. So if you look at the flow, so flow is the logic. It is like telling, like if I was a human, if I did it manually, what would I do? So saying first you start, you go to the web page, then go fetch the database for the different stock prices. Then you predict what the stock is going to be. Go to the API connector, get the news that is there. Then take that news and the stock prediction, use string manipulation to create a prompt. Using the prompt called the content generation, the GPT engine. The output from the GPT engine, you extract that element and you go and update in the database, and from that database you refresh the screen. So it's as simple as that. What you can logically think, saying I have to check the weather, from the weather I have to find out whether it's good or bad. From there I will recommend set of activities. That set of activities I give it back to the user, is what that flow is doing. And maybe and it can do multiple higher order as well. So if you look at some other example, the career hub that I showed you, those has again from a UI perspective, will have again good set of activities. So this is like what is called as an iframe. So it will tell you, you here is a course. This is in a you can embed anything. So if you want to, let's say, embed something from a Facebook into your web page, this is called an iframe control. You can embed anything into your page, or this is called as a repeater block. And in the repeater block, these are different things coming from the database. If you look at it, from the database, it is saying go and fetch the data. And from there, this is the image, this is the product name, description, price. So all these are dynamically generated. So you can actually take data from a database and paint it on the screen. From the screen, you can say, go to the database and get all these things and paint it for me. it becomes very easy for you to do. And then you can build all those, sign in page, sign up page, all those different things you can again build with Open Viewer Studio. Very flexible. Anything that you can imagine, you can build there. So now if I go back to our FiiRE demo where it was a empty page, maybe we can start building something in that empty page right now. So let's say I'm going to build a simple page which is around showcasing some products uh, that I have, and maybe we'll do a small test to see how our generative AI also may work. So I'm just increasing the page height because as a test we're going to do a lot of things on that page. So next is the hero section. Hero section essentially tells you, to introduce your product. So maybe we'll keep it simple and introduce something here. So everything comes and then you can drag and drop. And maybe to even make our life easier, you can actually go to the page and say, hey, absolute is where you will drag and drop. But if you say, let me keep it easy, I'm not a great designer, let the page automatically align it. So let me say, call it vertically align. Anything that you drag and drop will start aligning automatically. I'll show you again. So let's say we created a header and this will be your welcome message. We'll say, something like it. We'll say, welcome to FiiRE Startup. And then let's say you want to showcase some things that you have within the, these are the different products or services that you're doing. So you just drag and drop and you can customize anything. You can replace this image with anything. You can, do the size, everything. These are again, higher order things. I think once you are interested and you sign up, once you go to help, it will show you everything. So it will show you how to get started, how to build a responsive UI. All are very nice videos. I will slowly explain to you how to use some of these complex things. But I'll keep it simple from a demo perspective right now. So let's say we created this. So you can go on and on, right? So we have a little less time. So let's say, let's add some fun stuff, right? So let's add some generative AI also. Let's add generate. So again, if you look at it, everything is getting automatically aligned. I'm not doing anything unique here. So let's say this is our page. You can actually see how it looks in different iterations. So let's say, you are my users and I want to show it to you. You will get this URL that says preview FiiRE demo page 1. And you can show it to your users. And then let's say resize it to different sizes. You can actually see how it is automatically becoming responsive. So the pages will kind of automatically align to different form factors that you have. And you can see this in design time as well. So it becomes very easy for you to add anything fairly complex and make sure that it is responsive. And somewhere in that higher order functions, you can actually say, when I go to mobile, I just want to hide something like, so you can actually go ahead and say in responsive visibility in mobile, I just want to switch it off. So you can do something saying, or in tablet, I want it to be shown, in desktop and mobile, I don't want it to be shown. You can do something as big as that. Again, these are again slightly higher order things, so I wouldn't spend time right now. But when you're all doing it, we'll be there to help you. We'll guide you through how to do some of those things as well. And let's say there's a generative AI. Spell correct. I'll get your spelling right as well. So it's E caps here. So let's say we want to call this generative, and let's say we want to call this page as so So in our page, if you recollect, we had a header, we put something here, and then there's something here, and then we are saying this is a generative AI thing. So for generative AI, what do we want? We want a place where user will, and this example, I'll show you an image generation. So let's say we want the user to tell something, and then we will generate the image, and that image will come here, right? So this is the front end, right? So now we need a back end. How will that image get generated? I need a text to image service, right? And there's a very complicated service from a large language model or a GPT, but look at how easy it is in OpenAI. I did hit plus, restore started, nothing else. That capability is now integrated in OpenViewer Studio. You don't need to worry about anything at all. But one thing we need to take care of is that user input I need to take and give it to that generative AI service. So this is that user input. So this is called prompt user input 4. It's a type creative. So let me call this name something. Let me call this image gen input. So it's a good practice, right? So once you name it, you can actually find it in the flow. Once you find it in the flow, you can send it to the resource. So we're saying user is sending an input, and that input field is called image gen input. So I created a resource here. We didn't do anything. We just hit plus. Now I go to the flow and I create a flow called image gen service. Okay. So in this flow, what am I going to do? I'm going to say I need to create an image. And the moment you add any resource, let's say you added text to image as a AI, this action automatically comes. You don't need to again write a single line of code. So our logic is simple. We're saying we're going to start. When I start, maybe I'm going to take the input from this page called FiiRE. FiiRE was the first page we created. Moment you say I'm going to use FiiRE, it automatically shows you that FiiRE has two inputs. First input, if you recollect, was there was an email field in there. We're not going to use it. And then one field that we're going to use is called image gen input. So it tells you there are two inputs. We don't need to do anything. All we're saying is start, then generate the image, and send it back to the user. So now to generate the image, and you can see here, it will automatically keep telling you saying your logic is not complete. There are errors on the page. So once you are correct, it will become green. Okay? So at start, I'm saying I need to get data from this page called FiiRE. It is automatically telling you what data is available. Next step, you're saying call the generative AI service. So I want to do text to image. What is the text I want? From the page, I want this input called image gen input, which is the prompt that the user is giving. I take that input, I give it to the generative AI service, and that output data comes in. I don't need to do anything again. So now the output came. So the output needs to be available to the page again, right? So in the end, I need to tell, get me a page variable that comes from this action output called text image data. From that output of the text to image data, I need it to go back to the page. So very simple, right? You started, you connected to the page. From the page, you took data and gave it to the service. From the service, you took the image and gave it back to the page. So our backend logic of actually having a high-tech generative AI and its connections are done. I go back to the page, and in the page, I just have to tell, saying from this, call it, right? So when someone clicks on this, I should be able to call that service. So I have to go to the event and say, on click of this, call that service, execute that flow. And what is that flow? Image gen service. So very simple, right? So you went here, and if someone clicks it, call that image gen service. So when this page is loaded, user will type something here, and they will click on here. It has called that service. Now, after calling that service is giving a picture. That picture is to come here. So here as a sample, it is holding a static image, but we don't want a static image. We want to remove the static image and tell it saying, hey, I want a dynamic image. That dynamic image is going to come from image gen service and this data. So that image will come once that flow is executed. So we are all done. So we have a landing page. In that landing page, you're showing something, and then maybe it's a bad example, but you're also giving a image generation service here. So let's say I'm happy and I want to go live. I hit this deploy. Counter clocks, so few seconds. This is live. So now you can actually type studio.opennet/apps/sample/FiiRE demo. This is available to anyone across the world right now. So here we are saying, let's say I want to do so not making a space walk. So I want to generate, someone doing this. I hit generate. It is now calling that service. It is going across the globe, running that generative AI typically, because it's painting this from scratch, take 20 to 30 seconds. It has created this image for you.